Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome for Jimmie Åkesson.
Thank you very much for that introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, it is with a great pleasure that we are gathered here this evening at the Grand Hotel here in Stockholm. Friends from all over Europe. We even have friends from the United States present, and I would like to extend a very warm welcome to all of you. Welcome to Stockholm. We are not only friends, we share something else as well. The European Union has, under decades, grown both much stronger and more powerful. From a comparably more limited cooperation to the bureaucratic supranational power base that we are experiencing today. More and more power and decision-making is transferred from each individual member state to the bureaucrats in Brussels. And one of the reasons given by the EU followers for continuing this development in the same direction is that EU provides a precondition for cooperation. Without an European Union, the risk for national strife and conflict is increased, they say. We would not be able to cooperate or solve common problems across our borders, they say. Without the European Union, we would be isolated, tiny islands without much contact with the outside world, they say. But apart from the fact that we are friends, we are also living proof that the EU followers are wrong. We want to cooperate. We want to engage in dialogue. We want to work together in order to solve common problems. But we want all that without selling out our freedom or selling out ourselves to Brussels. The criticism towards the European Union is growing stronger. And why is that? I'm convinced that it is human nature to want to have influence. It's human nature to have a feeling of being involved and the desire to live in a democracy. The foundation of our parliamentary democracy is the ability for the citizens to be able to elect their leaders. And when the point is reached where it's no longer possible for the elected to represent the people, the frustrations will lead to some form of reaction. And this reaction, now experienced all over Europe, is a direct result of years of transferring decision-making power from the national parliaments to Brussels. As in the case of Sweden, upwards 50–60% of all decisions made on local or regional levels are heavily affected by the European Union. Lots of directives, regulations are passed through our parliament with the purpose of implementing EU decisions into Swedish law. And this, my friends, cannot be allowed to continue. Nor can it be claimed that the EU actually deliver real solutions when the real challenges appear. Last year we experienced one of the greatest migration crises in modern times. People from Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan and many other countries used different routes into Europe, and the Union failed. a few countries had to bear the burden of accepting the large majority of these migrants. And I fully understand those countries that very quickly closed their borders. Unfortunately, our Swedish Prime Minister didn't share that opinion. This proved that the European Union cannot be trusted with the task of protecting the outer borders. Each European country must therefore assume the responsibility of their own borders. The European Union must be seen as a project which inhibits democracy, is extremely costly to our taxpayers, and fail to deliver once it is truly needed. And here in Sweden, there were many of us who cheered when Britain showed the way, showed that a different path is very much possible. All of our countries have our own unique traditions, customs, habits, history. Journalists and other in Sweden often ask me, what is uniquely Swedish? How do you become Swedish? And that is, of course, not an easy question to answer. It is a combination of norms, values, social codes. Seen as a whole package, they form us to be Swedish, to be French, to be British, and so on. All the unique traits, characteristics, and ways of life are well worth preserving. One thing often associated with Sweden is Alfred Nobel and the Nobel Prize. The memory and the legacy of Alfred Nobel is something we celebrate here in Sweden, in Stockholm, each year in December. Prizes are awarded to people across the world, all of whom have in some way contributed for the good of humanity in their respective fields. And as a tribute and a commemoration of Alfred Nobel, we will tonight enjoy an almost identical meal to the one served at the very first Nobel banquet 115 years ago in 1901. It was also here at the Grand Hotel where the first Nobel dinners were served in 100 years ago or so. We are not this evening awarding any Nobel Prizes, but we will for the first time be awarding the European Freedom Award. An award to someone who has been promoting freedom, autonomy of the different peoples of Europe. And of course, it is a great honor for me to welcome you all to Sweden, to Stockholm. Thank you all for coming. I wish you a pleasant evening and bon appetit. Thank you.
Thank you.